Chosen one, if this video found you right now, it means the silence you once carried is ready to speak. Something unseen has been arranging this meeting. The pauses, the held words, the times you swallowed truth instead of setting it free have formed a hidden trail straight to this moment. Your soul responded before your mind understood. And tonight we step into the room where the things you never said finally show their power. You felt it, the weight in your chest after you stayed quiet, the way a space shifted when you left without explaining, the uneasy looks from people who sensed you knew more than you were willing to release. What if I told you that they are still haunted by what you didn't say? What if I told you your silence already shook the ground beneath their certainty, and that is why they fear your voice now? If this message already speaks to your soul, subscribe, like this video, and comment 77 below. Stay with me through the end, because we're going to uncover why your restraint was never weakness, how unspoken truth ripples through spirit, and what happens when the code inside that silence finally goes live. The power behind unspoken truth. It begins like this. You are standing in a dim hallway you know and do not know, carrying a glass jar that glows from within though the lid is sealed tight. Voices hum behind a door. They are waiting, they are loud, they are sure of themselves. You reach for the knob, feel heat climb your throat, and something in you says wait. You do. The light in the jar grows brighter in the dark. When you wake, you realize the jar was your voice, and the lid was the moment you chose not to speak. That dream is not random memory. It is a mirror held up by spirit to show you that what you thought was lost power was stored power. The pause did not end the message. Concentrated it. You are being shown that what you felt rising inside you all those years has been real, measured, watched, and now ready. Think back to the times you felt strange in rooms where everyone else seemed fine. The joke that wasn't funny, but you felt the sting anyway. The meeting where a decision rushed forward and your gut clenched, yet you swallowed the warning because you were new, young, emotional, too spiritual. Holiday tables where family told stories that left out the truth, and you sat counting your breaths so you would not erupt. School days when teachers praised answers that rang hollow while your chest buzzed with a better question you dared not ask. You carried extra senses like hidden wires under skin, taking readings no one else could register. You wondered why you needed longer to recover after simple talks, why the air in certain houses felt heavy, why hearing false praise made your stomach twist. You were not broken. You were sensitive to signal. What if those uneasy pauses were not personal weakness but part of a design that has been shaping you from the start? Scripture holds quiet clues. Mary kept and pondered words in her heart before the world could bear them. David wrote in a psalm that he was mute with silence until the fire burned hotter within. A young Samuel heard his name in the night and waited before speaking. These are not tales of cowardice. They are stories of incubation. It is as if heaven drafts blueprints in hidden ink and lays them beneath your life, guiding when to speak and when to seal the line. Every time you held back, a foundation stone set. Every held word cured like clay in a kiln, strengthening what would later stand in public light. Your restraint was classroom, not collapse. You may have noticed little flares that never fit neat logic. The same number on clocks when your chest swelled with unsent words. A sudden ringing in your ear right as someone lied to keep peace. Dreams that replay a conversation you never actually finished, only this time you say the thing and wake with calm. A warm buzz at the base of your throat when you walk past places where truth was buried. Random verses surfacing on your feed. Jeremiah's fire, Psalm 39's burn, Luke's quiet mother, always when you are biting your tongue. People texting, "Are you okay? I feel like you had more to say." Though you said nothing. These are not glitches. These are pressure valves flickering, letting you track the charge building inside unspoken truth. Little by little the pieces click. You start seeing how often your silence was followed by shift. The coworker you protected from yourself later leaves the toxic team you meant to warn about. The friend you stayed quiet with returns weeks later saying, "I've been thinking about what you didn't say." Your body relaxes when you honor the hold. It spikes when you overspeak. A pattern emerges. When you obey, the inner stop, events line up. When you force words, doors jam. This is quiet confirmation. Your intuition has been your guide the whole time. reading currents before they broke the surface. Safe alignment grows not as fireworks but as a steadying breath, a slower pulse, a sense that you are standing in ground that will hold. Then something deeper opens. You realize you are not trying to become spiritual. You are remembering that you already were. Beneath the habits, beneath the roles, beneath the silence, there is an archetypal self who has done this before. Like the lost scroll uncovered in the temple of Josiah's day, buried text waiting to be read. Your core identity has been stored in the chambers of your heart, while the noise of life moved above it. When fragments of that record surface, an old childhood knowing, a line of scripture that once puzzled you now glowing, a dream of writing words on a wall, you feel memory, not novelty. The true you was never gone, only covered. With memory comes the first slow turning of power. You start giving your sensitivity room instead of apology. You notice which environments fry your field and which feed it. You practice speaking one clean sentence where you once ranted 10. You write what you cannot yet voice, and the pressure eases without losing strength. You pray like Romans says, groans too deep for speech, and trust that spirit translates. You journal phrases that land like codes. Later you open them and see patterns. This is first activation. Not a shout, not revenge, but deliberate contact with the charge you carry. The more you honor it, the clearer it responds. So here is where we stand. Your arrival to this message is not coincidence, and the power behind your unspoken truth has been working longer than you know. The rooms that got strange after you left, the people who replayed what you never said, the dreams that kept calling you back. All of that was evidence that silence can move like lightning underground. Comment echo if you feel it, and in that comment share one moment when holding back changed the atmosphere more than speaking would have. Your story helps others see the signs in their own lives. Stay with me, because next we step into why timing and spirit interference sometimes sealed your lips on purpose, and how that delay protected the mission that is now ready to emerge. And if you feel called to go even deeper, there's a sacred space reserved for our community. A private room where you receive full prophetic messages daily. Join our private membership through the link in the description and walk this path with us. Divine timing and spirit interference. The first sign is almost too small to name. A drag in the air before you speak, the way the clock seems to thicken around certain conversations. The cursor freezes just as you are about to send the message that would have changed everything. It feels like walking through a room where the lights flicker only when you open your mouth. Long before you knew you were a messenger, something in the atmosphere pushed back against your voice. You could feel heat climb your throat, then a pressure at the jaw, then nothing. Silence you did not choose, yet obeyed. Later you would learn that these pauses were not random glitches. They were guardrails thrown up by spirit the split second before you stepped into traffic laid by people who smiled at you while setting snares. The unease that once annoyed you now reads like early radar. You were being stopped for a reason. That resistance hurt. Let's name that. You walked out of rooms carrying shame that did not belong to you because they told the story their way. They called you passive, dramatic, unstable, uncommitted, anything but discerning. You sat in cars after long meetings replaying every line, wondering if you were too sensitive because you felt danger when everyone else clapped. You drafted whole paragraphs in your notes app, heart racing, only to delete them because you feared being read as bitter. You felt yourself shrink whenever they laughed off what mattered to you, and the shrinking bred self-doubt that circled for days. It is heavy to feel a warning in your bones and have no safe place to say it. If you have ever cried in a bathroom stall after keeping the peace, you know that emotional pressure. That is what suppression tastes like from the inside. Look deeper and you'll see a pattern older than you. In Exodus 13, God does not lead the people the short way because war waits there. Delay is mercy. In Numbers 22, a prophet's path is blocked by an angel only the donkey can see. Interference saves a life. In 1 Samuel 25, Abigail hurries to intercept David so he does not spill blood in anger. Interruption protects destiny. These stories are not dusty tales. They are blueprints of how guidance steps in hard when purpose is at stake. When you felt a hard stop in your throat or a sudden fatigue that kept you home the night they tried to pull you into drama, you were in that same field of care. Systems, energies, Even people who feared losing control pushed to rush you. Heaven slowed you. Resistance was the evidence that your words could move history if fired at the wrong time. Take a breath and scan your timeline. Notice how often things jammed when you were about to confront the wrong person in the wrong mood. The text that failed to send. The ride that canceled. The call that dropped. Notice the jobs that ghosted you the week you almost disclosed a vision that would have locked you into a life that was never yours. Notice relationships that blew up right after you revealed a small spiritual insight, making you afraid to speak again, only to find, months later, that those same people were hiding motives that would have drained you dry. Patterns repeat until we read them. This is that light switching on in the dark storage room. Not to shame you, but to show you that interference tracked with protection. Each blocked move saved power for the day it would count. Once you see it, you begin to feel the texture of spiritual resistance. Air grows thick in certain offices. Group chats glitch. Your throat tightens beside one person but relaxes near another. You hear yourself stutter where you are meant to hold silence. You feel words flow clean where truth can land. Sometimes it is like fog curling around your ankles when you cross lines drawn by fear. Sometimes like unseen watchers taking notes. The hum in the room changing when you speak prophecy too soon. Doors close, not because you are unworthy, but because spilling revelation into hostile ground can cost years. You are not paranoid. You are perceptive. Light attracts distortion. Your field drew flies because it was bright. How did you cope? Some of you shut down and called it wisdom. Some over-explained, writing emotional essays to earn the right to feel. Others played small, telling jokes at your own expense so they wouldn't call you deep. A few of you snapped, said everything at once, and watched bridges burn that never needed fire. Many of us rotated through all of these in cycles. Speak, regret, retreat, numb, repeat. This is not failure. This is how souls test the edges of their calling in a world that punishes clarity. Naming these responses without blame lets you meet yourself with mercy. You did what you knew. Now we learn a better way. Here is the turn. The very pressure that held you back has confirmed your reach. They would not rush you, bait you, or label you a problem if your timing did not matter. The break on your tongue was evidence that your word carries blast radius. That is why heaven staged your release. Begin reclaiming that truth by asking before you answer, by feeling for the green light in your chest, by trusting the drag when it comes. When you wait until alignment clicks, your sentences land like seed in ready soil. When timing ripens, your once silenced voice does not trickle out. It rolls like thunder. You are not late, you are loaded. So let us seal this moment with clarity. You were opposed because you are powerful, and delay has been form-fitting armor around prophecy still curing. Every blocked post, every lost draft, every mouth you felt shut by force has stored charge for a larger assignment. Comment timing if you can see one place where postponement protected you, and feel free to share the story if you want others to learn from it. Hold close, because what comes next is even stranger. In the next part, we will trace how the very words you never spoke kept moving without you, echoing through dreams, headlines, and hearts you never touched in person. That is where we go when we step into echoes across dimensions. And to every soul who's supported with a super thanks, thank you. You are keeping this light alive for others who haven't found it yet. If you feel called to help this mission reach more chosen ones, tap the super thanks button below. Your energy supports these messages and helps them travel further. Your voice matters, your belief matters, and your light is felt here, echoes across dimensions. You open an email and freeze because the line you never sent is staring back at you in someone else's words. It lands like a bell struck in the rib cage and the air around you thins. The meeting you left weeks ago, the warning you swallowed, the question you deleted. Here it is returned, rearranged, alive. The blur of odd moments that made no sense begins to braid. Street numbers repeating, a dream of a round table. The way your skin prickled every time that subject rose. What you wrote, erased, and buried has circled through unseen channels and come home wearing a new voice. You feel something tilt inside, as if the hallway of your past is rotating to line up with a door you did not know existed. Confusion loosens. Alignment begins. You think back to smaller clues, a text that failed to send the night you almost confronted them, a light bulb that popped when you rehearsed the truth out loud, the restless sleep that followed every time you stayed quiet. It is as if time itself bookmarked that night and waited for you to notice. What once felt like random static now hums as guided sequence. It dawns on you that reality has been writing letters in code the whole time. Totals on receipts, timestamps, page counts, license plates in traffic, snatches of lyrics in passing stores. Each carried a nudge. Rain on the roof repeats a rhythm you prayed months back. Chairs at an event sit in the same spiral pattern you sketched in a half-asleep journal. You are not forcing meaning. Meaning has been reaching, layering signals until you could read. Think of the servant of Elisha whose eyes opened to see hills full of fire horses already in place. Nothing new appeared, perception expanded. So it is with you. Scrolls hidden in ordinary life unfurl, symbols connect, and the math of your days resolves into design. Even silence carries glyphs. The pause between their sentences forms brackets around what they fear. Your own heartbeat ticks like a metronome when you stray from alignment. Windows fog in rooms where lies cluster. When you begin to pay attention, the whole world behaves like illuminated manuscript. Margins alive with notes from spirit, callouts pointing you to the next line you were born to read. Inside, the signals grow louder and cleaner. Your gut tightens faster when a lie floats through a room. The base of your throat heats when truth is present. You taste metal before a conversation that will turn. Crowds that once left you only tired now leave you buzzing or cold, depending on spiritual charge. Boundaries rise like reflex. You leave sooner, speak shorter, rest longer. What you once called mood swings were guidance currents. Remember Zechariah who lost speech until promise matured. Restraint guarded fulfillment. Remember the coal that touched Isaiah's lips before he could say, "Send me." Purification precedes commission. Your body is your first prophecy instrument, and it is tuning itself in real time. Sleep shifts too. You wake at the same hour with phrases stamped across your mind. Foods you once craved feel dull, while simple water tastes electric. Your skin tingles before storms in relationships break. The temple you live in is repatterning. Circuits that once leaked are sealing. Where you honor these signals, peace expands. Then the outer world begins to mirror the inner calibration. People who dismissed you loop back with questions they never would have asked. Others grow edgy, as if they sense the charge coming due. Projects you forgot revive on the same day unrelated doors close, steering you with precision. It feels like Acts chapter 10, when two separate visions, Peter on a rooftop, Cornelius in a house miles away, sync at the exact hour and a new chapter in spiritual history opens. Help and hindrance both arrive on schedule, and even resistance now reads like signage. Slow here, speak there, wait for green fire. You watch schedules bend. Flights reroute to seat you beside the very mentor you needed. Bank delays keep you from investing in a plan that soon collapses. Meanwhile, old critics begin repeating themes you prayed alone. Proof that echoes are landing. Alignment outside confirms calibration inside. In the swirl of alignments, a memory that never stopped flickering finally lights. You remember being small, tracing loops in dust with your finger and humming a tune no one taught you, feeling watched yet safe. Job says God speaks in the night to seal instruction. Jacob slept on stone and woke saying, "Surely the Lord was in this place, and I knew it not." Those words rise from page to pulse. You realize the dream you have carried for years, the bright room with listening walls, the scroll you were not allowed to open, was not fantasy. It was pre-briefing. Ancient intelligence in you is reactivating, and memory is the ignition key. Fragments return in smell, song, weather. A cedar scent in a city street snaps you back to a campfire where you first sensed angels standing guard. Rain on tin revives the lullaby your grandmother hummed, a tune that matches a chant you later hear in another land. Memory braids across time until you feel lineage crowding close, cheering the moment you finally connect the threads. With memory awake, the horizon stops being blank. The future does not need invention. It wants agreement. You sense chapters already scripted waiting on your yes. No more asking them for clearance to be who you are. If a centurion could trust that one spoken word would travel distance and heal, you can trust that a line truth launched from your spirit will reach the field it is sent to, calling step forward like soldiers answering roll. The path appears underfoot not because it was built tonight, but because you finally turn to face where it has always run. You feel summons in ordinary tasks. Washing dishes turns meditative. A phrase drops in and will not leave until spoken. Road signs read like directives. Someone says your name and it rings like commissioning. The timeline is live. You step, it responds. Destiny is a conversation and you are answering. So you gather what interference tried to scatter. Drafts you hid, dreams you labeled weird, instincts you laughed away, back in your hands. You spread them like tools on a workbench. Key, lamp, seed, flint, compass. You notice how every attempt to rush or mute you now shows where the richest deposits lie. No one steals what has no worth. You breathe, speak one clean line at the right hour, and feel the field jump. Not because you pushed, but because authority remembered travels fast. Resistance collapses into assignment. Delay becomes launch power. You test the field. One prayer and the person you thought lost reaches out. One boundary spoken, and the energy drain stops. Where once you begged to be heard, now you choose when to speak because you have seen what a single aligned word can trigger. This is reclamation. Measured, watchful, unstoppable. Revelation is not the finish line. It is the gate swing. You stand in echo space where unsent words, guarded prayers, and coded dreams have been gathering mass, waiting for your consent to move. Comment ripple if you are seeing returns in your own life, and share a dream, memory, challenge, or inner knowing that keeps circling back to you. Your story helps the rest of us read the waves. Stay close because next we step into how to open the vault and release what has been locked within without losing the charge you spent years protecting. Releasing what's been locked within. You reach a line in your life that does not blur when you step toward it. It sharpens. On one side sits every word you swallowed to keep rooms calm, every truth you coded in jokes, every warning you softened so they would not turn on you. On the other side waits the field that has been calling your name in dreams. Tonight you stand between them like a traveler at a split in the road, holding a sealed letter that has burned through its wax. The inner mirror asks a question that cannot be dodged. Will you keep carrying truth like contraband? Or will you deliver it to the people who need it even if some who mocked you flinch? In that pause you feel the weight shift from wondering to choosing. Passivity is gone. This is the crossing. Call back what you scattered. Name it as you gather it. Time given to arguments that never heard you, come home. Energy drained by walking on eggshells, return to center. Hours lost rewriting messages to please fragile egos, back to source. Presence you shrank so they would feel tall, stand up. This is not rage. It is ritual. Training often looks like loss while it is happening. Those seasons where you felt waste were classrooms where discernment grew muscle. Stand in the middle of that reclaimed ground and picture a throne carved from lived days. Take your seat. Place both hands over your chest and speak within. I accept the charge on my life. I release shame for what I could not say then. I choose to speak in season now. Fierce, yes. Focused, always. Let us name what waits in your vault so you do not mistake it for debris. You hold insight that reads rooms before words land. You hold sensitivity that tracks energy shifts like weather radar. You hold memory, faces, dates, phrases that line up later like coordinates. You hold discernment that separates signal from noise. You hold strength forged in holding silence without breaking. These are not quirks. They are keys and codes. They are scrolls rolled tight inside bone. They are banks of fire banked under ash, ready to draft heat on command. They are armor that does not clang but flexes. A shield of peace that lets real words fly clean. When you recognize them as tools, you stop apologizing for them and start wielding them. The path ahead is not a maze you must hunt. It is the stone under your feet that lights when you move. Think of priests in Joshua's day who stepped into the river before it parted. The water moved when weight touched it. Think of Habakkuk told to write the vision so a runner could carry it. Movement reveals map. You will not get the whole route at once. You speak one sentence you are given and a door opens. You write one account of what really happened and hidden allies surface. You set a boundary and the next marker appears like lanterns lighting along a ridge line. This is mission recall. Forgotten instructions returning the moment you stand where you were meant to stand all along. Watch the ground answer. You are not launching alone. Across cities and time zones, others are waking to the same burn. Their silence carried charge too. Soul tribes are forming in comments, prayer circles, late-night voice notes, small rooms where people whisper, "I thought I was the only one." Deborah did not sing alone. An army rose on that song. Esther fasted with a people, not in a vacuum. When you release what you have held, you signal your cluster. They recognize frequency. They lean in. Community built on real light does not demand you dim. It asks you to shine steady so the grid strengthens. Refuse to shrink to fit systems that are already collapsing. Stand, signal, connect. Take command of your field like a keeper tending temple lamps. This is stewardship, not ego. Alignment now means guard the gate of your mouth, the gate of your eyes, the gate of your time. Choose where your fire goes. Trim wicks that smoke. Refill oil where devotion thins. Paul told Timothy to fan the gift like ember to flame. Priests in ancient days cleared old ash so new fire could breathe. Do the same. Rest when spirit says rest. Speak when spirit signals green. Fast from noise that muddies your reed. Bless the space before you enter hard talks. Consecrate your devices if you must. What flows through them shapes fields. Treat your energy like sacred currency and spend it where return is kingdom, not clout. Hear this without softening. Everything you have felt, feared, seen, and survived has prepared you for release. The burns on your tongue taught timing. The nights of silence carved depth. The mockery you wore became insulation around the charge you now direct. You are ready. Say it out loud. Say it until doubt breaks. I am ready to speak what I carry in season and in truth. Heaven hears agreement. Earth responds to it. Joel spoke of spirit poured on all flesh and sons and daughters prophesying. That hour lives in you each time you lift the seal and let aligned words out. Feel the portal in front of you widen. Breathe. Step. This is not just a message. This is a summons to action. Release must now move through voice, page, art, decision, boundary, prayer. Choose one line you have held and send it where it belongs. Choose one cycle that drains light and name it in love. Choose one story that frees someone else from the spin of shame and speak it plain. Comment release if you feel the seal cracking. And in that comment add a short memory, dream, challenge, or sign that tells you the time has come to open the vault. Your testimony becomes torchlight for those still sealed. Stay close, because in what comes next we gather every flame and lift it high, turning personal release into collective expansion that changes how light moves through our whole community. A vision comes in the thin hour before dawn. You see a wide plain that once looked barren, yet beneath the crust a web of white roots glows like embers under ash. Every place you stayed quiet has sent fibers into that soil. Every swallowed warning, every paused reply, each night you pressed your lips and prayed instead of lashing out root work. Now cracks vein across the surface like dry riverbeds about to fill, and light seeps upward through them. You understand in a rush that power never left you. It tunneled. Zephaniah says the Holy One rejoices over you in quiet singing. Songs sung underground while you thought nothing was happening. The ground is about to lift. A soft interior whisper asks you to listen not to thunder but to sap. Trees speak through hidden strands that trade nutrients in the dark. Forests heal themselves from below. Your life has done the same. Numbers that repeated, names that resurfaced, delays that annoyed you. All part of an underground exchange moving strength where it was needed until the season turned. Jesus once spoke of a seed growing though the farmer knows not how. Growth in secret is still growth. You do not need the world to applaud germination. What matters is that roots found water the enemy could not poison. That is why the surface is breaking now. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Like this video, and comment I am chosen to let this message anchor in your soul. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. Thank you to all our supporting members for lighting the way. For full prophetic revelations daily, join the membership via the link in the description. Your spiritual path deserves more than fragments. Step into the full light. And if this message moved you deeply, consider tapping the Super Thanks button to support the mission. Every Super Thanks fuels the light we're spreading together. The silence they feared becomes the voice that frees.